Donc c'est In C de Terry Riley.
In C by Terry Riley.
So In C was written in 1964 by Terry Riley. The premise behind the piece
Terry
is
Riley,
that
donc il fait partie d'un peu de cette mouvance.
In the key of C? Oh, C major?
Welcome to Tell Me About In C, the podcast about Terry Riley's minimalist musical masterpiece, In C. I'm your host, Wesley Cheney. In this episode, I talked to Ben Neill, who has been described as using schizophrenic trumpet to create art music for the people. Ben performs in C annually at Lincoln Center each summer as part of a large ensemble. Ben was first introduced to minimalism while in college in the late 70s when he bought In C on vinyl. Listen now to Tell Me About In C. Welcome to Tell Me About In C, Ben Neill. So, tell me, what was your first introduction to In C?
You know, I was trying to remember. I was thinking back. I believe the first time I actually listened to it was when I was in undergraduate school and found the record in the library. To my best recollection, although I'm not absolutely sure. But you know, that was in the 70s, late 70s. So yeah.
Had you heard anything by Terry Riley before that point?
I don't believe so. No, I don't believe so. I think it was the first piece that I encountered by him. And I got very interested in his music, his other music, right after that. Yeah. I had heard some of the other minimalists, Steve Reich, Philip Glass, but I think In C I actually came to a little later.
Okay. And what was your first reaction to it?
I was totally enthralled by it. I thought it was just so fascinating, and I loved the way the score was reproduced in the LP cover. So you could, as I recall, it was, and you could actually really get a sense of how the whole thing was put together, which was just so fascinating to me.
And when was the last time you listened to In C?
Well, I guess the last time I listened to it was the last time I played it, which was this summer at Lincoln Center in the Lincoln Center Out of Doors Festival at Damrush Park with the Darmstadt Ensemble, which is led by Zach Layton and Nick Hallett. Zach is actually a former teaching colleague of mine, and I've been performing it with them every year for the last few years. So yeah, I think that's the last time, which was just a few months ago, back in July, I believe.
Okay. How many formats do you own In C in?
I think I really only had the LP for many years, and because I was involved in playing the piece a number of times, I don't think I ever had it on CD. But of course, streaming, I've listened to different versions online over the years. Yeah.
And what impact has In C had on you personally?
Well, when you asked me about doing this, I was, of course, very happy to talk about it, because I really feel it's a piece that, I would say it's the greatest piece of classical music of the last half of the 20th century, in the sense that I think I think you could almost say that it saved music in the sense that it was such a bold statement in terms of turning around a lot of the ways that art music had been progressing with atonality and the idea that music was only for specialists like higher mathematics or something like that. So it's had a huge influence on me. It's been hugely inspiring, and in my recent book, Diffusing Music, I devote quite a good deal of time to it. But in that, the book is primarily focused on the idea of musical democratization, and it's such a brilliant example of that in terms of the way it's structured, where everyone becomes equal and everyone plays an equal part, and it's this beautiful model of a cooperative in action. So it's had a huge impact on me.
What's your favorite performance of NC to listen to or watch?
Well, I guess I've listened to several of the different interpretations, but I kind of go back to the original. I mean, maybe it's just because that was the one that I was first introduced to, but I still really enjoy that original recording, and of course some of the people that were involved in that recording were very important to me. John Hassel, who was really my mentor, and I still love the original recording. But the thing I think is so great about the piece is the way that it can be interpreted in so many different ways. And I also feel with any really great music, and specifically notated music, even if it's played badly, it still stands up. Like a Bach chorale still sounds good to me, even if it's played by a fifth grade band or something. And so the piece, I think, of course, I have certain preferences for the way that I enjoy it, but I think it really holds up in just about any interpretation because it's just so great.
Yeah. Well, what was your first performance of NC like?
Well, the first performance that I did was one that I organized shortly after I was introduced to it through the recording. I had a contemporary ensemble that I was organizing and leading, and I transcribed the score off of the record, and I think it was a pretty small group, like 8 or 9 people, and we performed it at an art museum in Youngstown, Ohio, where I was in school at Youngstown State, that was the first performance that I did. But I've played it many times since in a lot of different contexts. Yeah.
And what's your favorite instrument to perform with?
I play it on a C trumpet.
Okay.
And as C trumpet is the instrument that is primarily used for classical music, orchestral music.
Yeah.
I really moved away from that whole type of performance over the years, and I'm just really focused on my instrument, the mutant trumpet, which is a B-flat trumpet. But I pull out the C trumpet every time I'm going to play in C, just because it feels a lot better to play it in C. Because if I play it on a B-flat trumpet, I'm playing in D, and the fingerings become more awkward.
Yeah.
It really on the C trumpet it rolls off in such an easy way. I pull it out every year when I do it with Zach and Nick's group, and oil up the valves, and it works great for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like playing the long tones on a B-flat flugelhorn. And so I have it set up so that I can put it through my pedal board, so I can get some really long tones.
Oh, you're a trumpet player?
Well, I grew up on a trumpet player, and then I about a decade ago I switched over to ukulele.
Okay.
So now I play electric ukulele for most NCs. I also have a looper with melodica presets going on it. And then the next performance coming up in a couple months, I'm going to break out my flugelhorn, and I can't. It's a B flat, so like a lot of the phrases are really awkward. You know, you're doing 2 and 3, and it's just not fun. And
Yeah.
So, but for the long phrases, the whole notes, I can do that just fine.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to create some fun sounds with that. So it's been an interesting instrument to work with as I've been practicing.
Well, I would mention, the flugelhorn has such a rich tone. I can imagine that the long notes would work really well like that.
Yeah. What do you think the ideal ensemble size is for NC?
Well, I've done it with a lot of different groups. I think maybe 15 to 20 people, something like that. I believe those are the most satisfying performances. I think you need at least 8 or 10 people to really make it full and get the full effect of all of the different ways that the phrases can interplay. But again, I don't think there's any one way to do it. I mean, that's one of the beauties of the piece is that it's something that you could just keep rediscovering, and obviously many different kinds of musicians have done that and will continue to do that. So it has a kind of ongoing life in that way. Yeah.
What phrase of NC do you find yourself repeating the most?
Well, let's see. I mean, I guess I really enjoy the 16th note patterns, the ones that are the ones that are phrased like in groups of threes.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy that whole phenomenon of polyrhythm. So when it starts to turn the rhythm around, I would say those are for me some of the most fun to play. And again, they come off very smoothly on the C trumpet, so it's really kind of very satisfying when it gets to those continual 16th parts.
Yeah. What is your favorite band influenced by NC?
Favorite band influenced?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, the most famous one is the Who's Baba O'Reilly. I mean, I don't know exactly who else has talked about being directly influenced by it, but I mean, I feel like, and again, when I was first introduced to minimalism, it was really through the recordings of Philip Glass and Steve Reich, just because I encountered those first. But I think obviously NC was the beginning of rhythmic minimalism. I mean, I've worked a lot with Lamont Young, who of course is kind of credited with being the first person to enter that kind of minimalist sphere, but his work, of course, is not in the rhythmic minimalist style. So, yeah, I mean, I think so much of electronic dance music, the orb, things like, ambient techno, that whole kind of genre, which I got very involved with and still am involved with. I think it all owes a great debt to NC with the repetitive patterning and that kind of steady state rhythm, phasing, and those kinds of effects. Yeah.
All right. Well, pulse or no pulse?
I've never performed it without the pulse.
Okay.
I think the pulse is effective. Yeah, I think it makes everybody be more comfortable. Performing it without the pulse, I'm sure, is also, again, rewarding. But I think the pulse just gives it a really comfortable feeling. I have done performances where I feel sometimes the pulse can become a little too much.
Yeah.
I tend to kind of like the original idea of just the piano pulse, as opposed to getting into a lot of other like heavy instruments playing the pulse, but that's just my personal preference. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, loopers, yes or no?
I'm not. I was thinking about that. I haven't heard a whole lot of people doing it with loopers. But it. I mean, it seems. I'm interested to know more about that. So I don't. I certainly don't. I certainly wouldn't be against it. I think how you manipulate the lengths of the loops would be very important. I would think you would need to be. I think if you were just doing the loop, if you just were keeping a same length loop, I don't think you'd really get the effect of it. But I'm not so familiar with that approach to doing it. I've never explored doing it that way. I believe Maya Beiser recently did a recording like that, a cello recording. I'm not sure if she was using loopers or if she was just doing it with overdubbing.
How much improvisation should there be in NC?
I don't think too much. Again, I've done some performances where it gets like very loose and people start kind of throwing in extra things, but I tend to like a more. I just feel the piece is so well constructed that it doesn't need excuse me, it doesn't need anything more than what's there. And I tend to like a quick tempo that and a really kind of precise approach to playing it. I just don't think it needs a lot of extra added material. Again, that's my personal preference. I feel like the piece is so powerful just as it's written that it's just you just want to let that the beauty of the whole construction of it and the sort of magic that happens in every performance come out. I just heard I went to a New York Philharmonic concert the other day where they did L'Histoire de Soldat, and that kind of precision, that kind of really clean, precise playing. That's my favorite kind of approach to it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is phrase 35 too long or just right?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. Yeah, I think that's just such an important moment when you get to that place where all of a sudden it opens up in a sense. And I mean, one of the things that I think is so visionary about the piece, and that has influenced me a lot in my music, and I know many other people, is the way in which there is a structure that is somewhat similar each time. So like the large scale development and unfolding it does have a structure, but then within that there's so much room for individual improvisation, and the way that no two performances can be the same, so that it goes through all these different tonal centers. And then one of the things that I'm really interested in too is in music generally, and in my teaching I kind of focused on it a lot. It's something that I really became introduced to later on in my career, is this whole idea of music cognition, and how what really makes music moving and exciting is when expectations are thwarted or challenged in some way. And I don't think you really, by that time in the piece, you feel like you kind of, oh, I get it now. I know what's happening.
Right.
And when that long phrase, that melodic phrase, starts getting introduced, it's a really nice point in the piece to have like this whole new idea that I think is really it just soars at that point. So yeah, I love it. Yeah.
All right, final question for you, Neill. What would you ask Terry Riley?
Did he have any idea of how powerful the piece was when he first created it? How much of a tremendous impact it was going to have on the history of music?
All right. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it, Ben.
All right. Hey, it was great to talk to you. I love the topic.
So thanks for listening to another episode of Tell Me About NC. If you'd like to share your experience of listening to and performing NC, drop me an email. My email address is friendwes@mac.com. That's friendwes@mac.com. Wherever you are in the world, we can have a conversation. You just need a smartphone, Wi-Fi access, and a quiet room. As DJ Pseudonymous, I host the radio show Radio Eclectica on WMMT 90.3 FM from Whitesburg, Kentucky. It's on Fridays from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern. You can stream Radio Eclectica on the website WMMT.org. I take deep dives into genres as diverse as minimalism, answer songs, thrift store vinyl, post-rock, and Beatles covers. I just finished up a 2-part series on the works of Brian Eno, and I'm editing a retrospective of the genre-defying band Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. One of the first songs I learned to play when I picked up the ukulele 10 years ago was Commander Cody's song, Seeds and Stems Blues. In the next episode of Tell Me About NC, I'll be interviewing Richard Askoff, a fellow member of the Terry Riley Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe now so you don't miss it.